Seriously though, how are we already halfway through the year? Hello again team, it's Jess or JashiiCorrin and welcome back for my July plan with me. As can be expected, today we're going to be setting up for July 2020 in my bullet journal. But before we get into that, as per usual, we're just going to have a look at how this month was going. So as you'll remember from my last monthly plan with me, my theme for June was moons and mountains. So we had my quote and cover page, my monthly log, which I didn't really use all that much. You can see there are still a few events that I haven't actually checked off. My mood tracker and habits tracker, which I've super loved using my metallic watercolors on. My steps tracker and social media page. My memories page and monthly to-do list. And then after this we're into my weekly logs. So we had the first weekly log, the second, the third, and after this I didn't actually end up setting up a weekly for this week, so I just kind of went to town with some of my watercolors. And after this we actually only have a couple of other pages in my journal left, which means that for next month I am setting up in my new journal. Before we jump into the time lapse, just a reminder that as per usual, any of the equipment I use in today's setup is linked in the description box below. As you can see, with my new journal being the Neapolitan one from Archer and Olive, July is being done on craft paper. This is still very new to me, and it's interesting to see how things can look quite different on this paper rather than on white paper. For instance, I'm used to my yellow fine liners just not showing up at all on white paper, but as you'll see later, the yellow gel pen that I used in this setup actually shows up really well. Something to get used to, and I'm looking forward to trying out some different things in terms of the materials that I primarily use this month. For my July theme, some of you guys guessed it correctly from my weekly setup that I posted on Thursday, but it is science. This is something that I've wanted to do for a while, and I thought it would be cool to do this one on the craft paper. Kind of like an old field notebook kind of thing. Not that a lot of my decorations really fit with that idea, but I thought it would be cool all the same. For my cover page, as you can see, I've just got a set of 4 test tubes, which are going to be labelled to spell out July. And then to try and balance the page out a bit, I also included a quote at the top, which says, "Science is simply the word we use to describe a method of organising our curiosity," as said by Tim Minchin. I really liked the idea of quotes and text to fill space lately, rather than drawing more doodles and decorations, so I've made use of that a fair bit in this setup. In terms of timing, from first to final touches of the pen, the cover page took 17 minutes, which is probably only because it was the first page and I really didn't want to stuff it up. But now we're on to the monthly log, which took 14. This month I'm going with a vertical monthly log, with decoration down the right hand side. As most of July is going to be holidays, I figured that I likely won't have a lot of events to write down, so I don't really need a huge amount of space. At the top of the page I also have a quote that says, "We are just a very advanced breed of monkeys on a minor planet of a very average star, but we can understand the universe. That makes us something very special," from Stephen Hawking. For the decoration, I drew in a separating funnel. These are typically used to separate portions of a mixture based on solubility and density. So you have something in an aqueous layer and something in an organic layer, where the high density portion settles to the bottom of the funnel and the low density portion is floating on top. Kinda like if you have oil on water. Then you can open the tap and separate the lower portion off from the upper portion. Hopefully that makes sense. For my separating funnel though, I've used the liquid line to represent the start of the holiday period, and the very bottom of the funnel to mark the end of the holidays on the 27th, which will be the first day back for term 3. The right hand page here is for my monthly to-do list, which will probably end up being more of a things to get done in the holidays list, but this one took me 9 minutes to set up. As you can probably guess, most of that time was dedicated to drawing out this oxytocin molecule in the bottom right corner. This molecule is sometimes referred to as the love hormone and plays a role in social bonding, amongst other things. It isn't overly related to what I'm intending on having on my monthly to-do list, but I thought it fit nicely into the corner of the page and acts as some quite cute decoration. After erasing all of my pencil lines, it's then time to flip over to my mood and habits trackers. For my mood tracker, I wanted my decoration to be a bit more fitting with the purpose of the page, so I went with 3 dopamine molecules. This is one of the 4 main happiness hormones, so dopamine, oxytocin from before, endorphins, and serotonin. For my tracker, I'm using small circles to represent an atom or group of atoms on the dopamine molecule, which gives me 11 circles per molecule, so 33 total, thus 1 for each day and 2 extras. I'm not gonna lie, I had real trouble with my circle stencil here. Because all of the smaller circles look really similar in size, as they only differ by 0.5 millimeter, I kept using the wrong size, so a few of my circles aren't quite 6 millimeters in diameter, but thankfully they're still similar enough that it's not overly noticeable. At the bottom of the page, I just wrote a little blurb about what dopamine is, which says, dopamine is known as the feel-good neurotransmitter. It plays a role in controlling your mood, and it's also important for memory and motor skills. It acts as a reward, and the brain releases it when we do things we love, like eating our favorite foods. Dopamine allows us to feel pleasure, satisfaction, and motivation. This part really added to the total time taken for this page, so 21 minutes total, with 8 of those just dedicated to writing this blurb. I went with a 4-colour key for July, ranging from pink being the best mood, through to purple, blue, and then green for the worst mood. I find that most days, as of recently, I either feel content or better, so I didn't really feel the need to have multiple colours for negative moods. For my habit tracker in this setup, I've gone back to the vertical layout that I enjoy. I did really like using the mini calendar style for May and June, but I want to use my rainbow gel pens to make a rainbow striped effect with the vertical style. Hopefully that makes sense. So each day of the week is a designated colour. Red for Wednesday, orange for Thursday, yellow for Friday, etc. At the end of the month, this will give me a repeating rainbow which shows which habits I did and did not complete. Following the idea of filling empty spaces with quotes, at the bottom of this page I've written, "Every action you take is a vote for the type of person you wish to become," from James Clear. In terms of the habits that I'm tracking, I've represented these with symbols, so from left to right I have getting up on time, having my AM pill, PM pill, and multivitamin, filling in my bullet journal, filling in my power sheets, having active leisure time, doing my skincare routine, tidying up my space at the end of the day, spending within my budget, planning my tasks for the day coming, and getting to bed at a reasonable hour. My habit tracker took 8 minutes to set up, and now we're on to my steps tracker, which took 9. Again, I wanted to fill blank space with quotes, so the quote that I have at the top of this page says, "Walking is the most ancient and still the best modern exercise. I've given myself enough space to record up to 12,000 steps per day." And I think that I'm going to do something similar to the Coke Zero tracker that I had back in May, so a bar graph type layout. The right hand page is for my memories and media consumption. Rather than write the headers out ahead of time, like I did in May and June, this one I'm leaving open. I'm considering filling this out in a way similar to my decorative gratitude logs, but I haven't quite decided yet. To add a little decoration to the bottom though, I just drew in a simple dispersion diagram. This page, despite being super simple, still took me 6 minutes to set up. You'll notice in the setup that I'm not including my regular social media schedule page. This is because for this journal, I've decided to put all of those at the front of my journal so I can better plan in advance the content that I'm going to put out. After labeling my dispersion diagram, we are then on to the return of the productivity tracker. I figured that as the holidays are coming up in July, it would be a good time to include this tracker as a way to motivate myself to get stuff done. This one was the most time-consuming page, coming in at 35 minutes, and that's due mainly to the ruling of lines and the colouring of the header bars. Rather than having my key on a Dutch door, this time I opted in to have it under my title on the top left of the spread. I haven't quite decided on what things I want to track on this one though, but it'll probably be quite similar to what I used in May. I've received a fair few questions about how this spread works, and I did do a small tidbit about it in April as part of the Month of Planning With Me series, but if you'd like to see a longer and more detailed video about it, I'd be more than happy to make one. Just let me know in the comments below. I know that Erin of Erin Floto Designs has recently put a video like that together, which is more similar to the original style from the boosted journal. So if you are interested in that, feel free to jump over to her channel and have a look at that as well. Also, if you did end up recreating any of these spreads, feel free to tag me in your pictures on Instagram so that I can check them out too. It always brightens my day to see how people have taken ideas from the layouts I've done and then made them their own. So far, I'm quite enjoying using the craft paper. It certainly is a change, but I really like how my spreads for this month have turned out. I'd love to know though, what is your theme for July? I always find it cool to hear about what you guys are doing in your journals. I'm looking forward to putting some more science elements on my upcoming weeklies, but flipping on back now for our final flip through, we have my cover page, the monthly log and my monthly to-do list, my mood and habit trackers, my steps tracker and memories page, and the productivity tracker. Thank you for watching, team. If you liked today's video, please do make sure to give it a big thumbs up. And if you wanted to see more from me, feel free to go check out one of my other videos. Until next time, bye!